Tonight, the brand new blockade ordered by President Trump after no deal with Iran and his prediction on gas prices come the midterms. The countdown now on to tomorrow morning when the military says it will block all Iranian ports on the Strait of Hormuz after weeks of paralysis for oil tankers. The move threatening to escalate tensions and raise questions with both sides far from a peace deal. Also tonight, global markets responding after the president says gas prices could get even higher and how he's now defending that controversial threat he made to end Iranian civilization. We're also tracking intense weather across the country. Take a look at this funnel cloud there over Nebraska. Heavy rain flooding streets in West Texas. The new fire risk in the Northeast and in California, a spring snowstorm stopping these 18-wheelers in their tracks. The California congressman facing growing pressure tonight to resign, denying accusations of sexual assault by a former staffer. Now, some lawmakers are floating expelling him from Congress. Dramatic video tonight from a deadly mass shooting. You see it here. People running from the scene. We've got the latest on the investigation. New developments in the case of the mom missing in the Bahamas. A key deadline now to either charge or release her husband after she went overboard. The health alert tonight. Autoimmune diseases spiking, but not enough doctors trained to treat them. And there's good news tonight about this couple's decades-long cherry blossom tradition, inspiring others who've watched love bloom.
This is NBC Nightly News with Hallie Jackson.
Good evening. We begin tonight with what could be a major escalation overseas. President Trump ordering the military to blockade Iranian ports starting tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, in an apparent push to try and take control of the key Strait of Hormuz. We've talked about that strait so much during this war, with the flow of oil and gas in the region basically paralyzed. And now the president's suggesting gas prices may not drop back down before the midterms, with the world watching to see if this new blockade threat could upend the fragile ceasefire in the region. It's coming after those face-to-face peace talks between the U.S. and Iran seemed to go nowhere overnight. We have team coverage, starting with Keir Simmons at the site of those talks in Pakistan.
Vice President Vance departed Pakistan after sunrise, with no deal to show for negotiations that lasted all day and all night. And tonight, President Trump escalating, writing, effective immediately, the United States Navy, the finest in the world, will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. Tonight, U.S. Central Command says the blockade will impact all Iranian ports and coastal areas, but it will not impede vessels moving between non-Iranian ports. The Strait of Hormuz, a critical waterway for oil and gas.
We're putting on a complete blockade. We're not going to let Iran make money on selling oil to people that they like and not people that they don't like.
A day earlier, the U.S. delegation were met by Pakistani mediators with smiles and handshakes. But the political tension meant no images were released of the highest level face-to-face talks between the U.S. and Iran since the 1979 revolution. After 21 hours, the vice president emerging to say agreement could not be reached over Iran's nuclear program, with Iran accusing the U.S. of unreasonable demands.
We've made very clear what our red lines are, what things we're willing to accommodate them on, and what things we're not willing to accommodate them on. And we've made that as clear as we possibly could, and they have chosen not to accept our terms.
Despite the impasse, the Iranians leaving to hugs from Pakistan's leadership and a door left open. Vance urging them to accept America's, quote, final and best offer. Tonight, a source close to the White House says other areas of disagreement included Iran's use of proxies and the security of American allies, while President Trump tonight threatening China with tariffs if it provides missiles to Iran.
If we catch them doing that, they get a 50% tariff, which is that's a staggering amount.
Keir's joining us now, and Keir, with the countdown on until that blockade deadline tomorrow morning, we're hearing from the military now about how it'll work, with the window for negotiations still open, right?
That's right, Hallie. This is a fragile ceasefire while there is still time to talk. And as you say, Centcom now saying that that blockade will be in place on ships using Iranian ports. It means that any unexpected incident, Hallie, could lead to renewed war. Hallie?
Keir Simmons in Islamabad, thank you. The president tonight also not ruling out the potential for gas prices to perhaps move higher ahead of the midterms. Julie Sirkin is at the White House.
After failed peace talks in Pakistan, President Trump acknowledging the economic pain he described as short-term might get even worse.
So do you believe the price of oil and gas will be lower before the midterm elections?
I hope so. I mean, I think so. It could be. It could be or the same or maybe a little bit higher, but it should be around the same.
Gas prices surging more than 38% in the first 6 weeks of the Iran war, pushing inflation to its highest point in 2 years and fueling frustration at the pump.
Gas is ridiculous.
Tonight, Trump is doubling down on his earlier comments that Iranian civilization will die unless the regime caves to his demands. That statement earning Trump wide condemnation. The Pope calling it unacceptable. Top Democrats suggesting Trump should be removed from office, calling for his cabinet to invoke the 25th Amendment. Even some Republicans pushing back.
We are not at war with the Iranian people. You know, we are trying to liberate them.
But Trump defending his tough talk, as a new poll finds most Americans say they feel worried, stressed, or angry about the escalating war.
They're allowed to say death to America, death to this, death to... And I make one statement, they say, oh, such a big deal. Let me tell you, that statement got them to the bargaining table, and they haven't left. They haven't left the bargaining table.
Julie is joining us now from the North Lawn. And Julie, with signals now that this war could stretch on, Democrats back here in Washington this week maybe planning a new move of their own?
They are, Hallie. They are hoping once again to challenge the president's future military actions in Iran, only they're also hoping that more Republicans cross the aisle and join them. Hallie?
Julie Sirkin, thank you. We are already seeing markets move with all of this happening, and that could mean oil prices will surge again. Ali Canal is tracking that, and Ali may mean a rough start for Wall Street tomorrow morning.
Yeah, very likely, Hallie. Oil prices spiking above $100 a barrel, reversing the price declines we saw last week. We're also seeing pressures across U.S. equity futures, with the Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ all indicating sharp losses at Monday's open. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the most critical oil choke points in the world, carrying about 20% of global supply. And as oil moves higher, any relief we started to see at the pump, that's likely to reverse. One Iranian leader posting on social media that Americans will soon be nostalgic for $4 to $5 gas. We're also seeing fallout globally. In Ireland, people are protesting higher fuel prices by blocking refineries. That's left hundreds of gas stations dry, so the ripple effects only intensifying. Hallie?
In the world watching it all, Ali Canal, thank you. Overseas now, a stunning defeat for Hungary's prime minister, a key ally of President Trump's. Viktor Orban, who's been in power for 16 years, conceding defeat after the center-right opposition was projected to win Hungary's parliamentary election. Speaking with supporters in Budapest, Orban called the defeat clear and painful for his party. Back here at home, millions tonight are bracing for the threat of severe weather across the country, from flash floods to tornadoes and maybe even a spring snowstorm. Ryan Chandler is tracking it all.
Tornado in progress.
This tornado ripping through a Nebraska field, part of the dangerous weather continuing to slam parts of the country.
Oh my God, big funnel.
Thunderstorms in Kansas leading to fast-moving floodwaters. Tonight, millions of Americans are on alert for severe weather.
Wow.
The entire state of Hawaii is at risk for flash flooding and landslides.
Oh!
Massive boulders threatening drivers as the ground comes loose. Days of downpours have filled creeks and emptied busy tourist areas. Every Hawaiian island is under a flood watch through Monday afternoon.
It's like being in COVID again. There's just no one here and there's no one coming.
Heavy snow in California stopping 18-wheelers on the roads. Some parts of the state covered in more than 18 inches overnight. In Texas, heavy rain flooding streets. Today, 6 million people from San Antonio to Austin are facing the risk of large hail, high winds, and possible tornadoes.
You can feel the heat too now.
And on the East Coast, wildfires burning dangerously close to homes in New Jersey.
Wow, that's huge.
State firefighters dousing 160 acres Saturday, as most of the country battles an intense spring season and braces for more weather threats still ahead. Ryan Chandler, NBC News.
Ryan Chandler, thank you. Let's bring in meteorologist Matt Brickman from our NBC New York station. And Matt, this severe weather threat is going to stretch in the next few days.
It's true. Several rounds of severe weather, and many of them hitting the same parts of the country. Tonight, through the Great Lakes and down through the southern plains with parts of Texas with the greatest risk of seeing severe weather. Those Great Lakes showers move east and weaken, but behind that, the upper Midwest under the gun with severe weather from Minnesota to Wisconsin and more storms down into Texas. A third day on Tuesday with that severe weather threat from Texas clear up into Michigan with heavy rain, damaging winds, and large hail. Out east, the focus is going to be the heat with the warmest temperatures so far this year, driven by a strong Bermuda high, sending temperatures 20 to 25 degrees above average and potentially leading to record temperatures well into the 90s. Hallie.
Matt Brickman, thank you. We are also monitoring a small plane crash in Phoenix tonight. 3 people on board were hurt. You see it here when the fire department says this plane went down in a busy intersection. It's on the side of the road there, right on its side next to the sidewalk. Also tonight, new pressure on a Democratic congressman facing accusations of sexual assault from a former staffer. And now calls from his own party for Congressman Eric Swalwell to step down. Here's Liz Kreutz.
Months and months.
Tonight, Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell facing growing bipartisan calls to not only quit his campaign for California governor, but to resign from the House.
These allegations are despicable, and they demean the integrity of Congress.
This cuts across party line, and it is a depravity of the way that women have been treated.
Eric Swalwell needs to resign. He needs to drop out of the race.
Those Democratic House members saying they plan to vote to expel Swalwell after several women accused the 47-year-old of sexual misconduct, including a former staffer who alleges Swalwell raped her in a New York hotel room. That allegation now under a criminal investigation by the Manhattan DA. NBC News has confirmed Swalwell's attorney sent the woman this cease and desist letter, warning of further legal action if she does not retract her statements.
I look at credibility, I look at motive, and I have to question the timing of these allegations 25 days out from an election.
The married father of 3 is accused by multiple women of varying degrees of sexual misconduct, detailed in reports in both the San Francisco Chronicle and CNN. One of those women, Democratic influencer Ali Samarco, told NBC News Swalwell's inappropriate behavior with her began when she was 24 and trying to get a job in Congress. She says Swalwell sent her an unsolicited picture of his penis over Snapchat and told her he wanted to kiss her following one of their in-person interactions. Swalwell has not responded to NBC News' several requests for comment, but in a video he posted late Friday, he denied the accusations and vowed to fight.
These allegations of sexual assault are flat false. They are absolutely false. They did not happen.
Liz is joining us now. And Liz, we're also now learning of a new separate investigation into Swalwell as well.
Yeah, Hallie, that's right. In the midst of all of this, the Department of Homeland Security just announced that they're investigating Swalwell for unrelated allegations that he hired a Brazilian nanny several years ago without lawful work authorization. NBC News has reached out to Swalwell's campaign for response on that, but we also have not heard back. Hallie.
Liz Kreutz in California, thank you. Also tonight, an urgent search for suspects in a deadly mass shooting at a Chick-fil-A in New Jersey. Valerie Castro is near the scene. And Valerie, some witnesses are describing how scary it felt.
Yeah, Hallie, that's right. It was a busy Saturday night here around 9 p.m. when authorities say shots were fired inside this Chick-fil-A. Dramatic dash cam video captured by a witness in the parking lot shows what appears to be a masked individual carrying a weapon and appearing to run away from the restaurant. Authorities say when they got here, they found 7 victims. 1 was pronounced dead. The other 6 were taken to area hospitals. Tonight, the Union County Prosecutor's Office says the investigation is ongoing, but says this does not appear to have been a random act of violence. No arrests have been made so far, but investigators are asking for the public's help with any tips. Hallie.
Valerie Castro, thank you. Still ahead for us tonight, the key deadline approaching in the case of a missing American woman who vanished in the Bahamas. New video now of a Miami landmark, the Mandarin Oriental Hotel. Look at this, being demolished. Didn't take very long for those controlled explosions to take it down. In its place, developers are planning an even bigger 2-tower luxury hotel. Also tonight, we are just hours away from a key deadline in the Bahamas, where the husband of a missing American woman could either be charged in connection with her disappearance or he'll be released. Jesse Kirsch is on the ground.
Brian Hooker, the man arrested in connection with his wife Lynette's disappearance at sea,
must be charged by Monday night, or Bahamian police will have to set him free. That's according to his attorney, who says investigators appear to be eyeing a possible murder charge.
They told him the investigation was in relation to causing harm, which led to the death of his wife.
Did they give you any hints? Did the questions tip their hand at all?
It didn't really, because we are uncertain at this point if anybody was recovered. If you have not located the person, how can you say that harm was caused to the person? And if you have not discovered a body, how can you say whether or not foul play was involved, which led to death?
Hooker's attorney says he denies all wrongdoing. He says his wife fell from the couple's small dinghy in rough weather. In an interview with Fox News, a man who works at a boatyard in Marsh Harbor says he talked with Brian Hooker when he made it to land. The man said Hooker did not seem suspicious and appeared more exhausted than anything else. He was asking for water. He wanted water to drink. Meanwhile, authorities have spent the last week searching for Lynette Hooker. This is where Brian Hooker's attorney says he's being held by police who have not given us a fresh comment for days. Hallie?
We are back in a moment with the growing shortage of doctors in one critical specialty needed now more than ever. Next. To the new alarm bells now about a growing shortage of doctors in one key field. With more Americans living longer, autoimmune diseases are on the rise. But as Ann Thompson reports, there aren't enough specialists to treat them.
At just 32, Alexandra DiGiacomo already has an extensive medical resume.
I've had rheumatoid arthritis since I was 15.
Telling her story on social media.
I've seen over 30 doctors.
Documenting how her knee swells with fluid.
It's very painful.
When your knee fills up like that, can you walk?
Nope, I need assistance walking. It's very difficult.
Also difficult these days finding a rheumatologist, specialized doctors who treat autoimmune and inflammatory diseases. After moving from Atlanta to New York, it took Alexandra months to see one.
So you went end of May, June, July, August, September, basically 5 months before you could get in to see your doctor?
Yes, and I was living up here, so I had no rheumatologist that I could just call to get a favor to come on in.
It may get worse. Each year, autoimmune illnesses increase an estimated 3 to 12%. And rheumatology is not a lucrative specialty like surgery. One study predicts demand for rheumatologists will outpace supply by 102% by the next decade. Dr. Daniel Badafarano co-chaired the study.
I would say the primary problem is we don't have an adequate number of rheumatology care providers in the United States. Here in rural America, there's not many doctors, so access to care can be a problem.
Most rheumatologists are in urban areas. 72% of the nation's counties have no active rheumatologists.
If I called your office today, how long would it take me?
For a new patient, the wait is around 6 months.
Heat exposure.
You see Dr. Natalie Azar on NBC News. But her media demands are nothing compared to a rheumatology practice.
Well, not exactly. I come in early, I see them over my lunch hour, or I stay late. And that's what most of us have to do at this point.
There are training programs to attract new doctors and efforts to increase nurse practitioners and physician assistants to help. Alexandra will tell you the need is great.
Not having access to a rheumatologist is terrifying.
A fear patients and doctors want to cure. Ann Thompson, NBC News, New York.
When we come back, there is good news tonight about the cherry blossom tradition one couple has kept alive for nearly 30 years. Just in from the sports world, Rory McIlroy has done it again, winning the Masters tournament to earn a second green jacket. It comes after, of course, he won it so memorably last year. And finally, there is good news tonight about love in bloom and one couple's longtime tradition here in Washington, inspiring others to follow suit. As morning breaks in Washington and those iconic cherry blossoms come into view, Elizabeth Wilson and Garland Phillips are already at work. preparing the perfect picnic date as they've done for 28 years.
We wanted to create traditions, and this is one of them.
It started back in 1998 as a casual plan. So successful, they did it again and again. And in all those years, they've never missed a date.
There was 1 year at least when it was so cold and windy.
And snowing.
We
did not eat outside that day.
Here under the blooms, Elizabeth and Garland see a unique opportunity to toast both the beauty around them and between them. Their secret to love?
A, it has to be the right person. B, you have to be able to accept one another, good points and flaws.
Love is not a feeling. It's a decision to act in a certain way.
A tradition so consistent.
Can I take your picture?
Sure you can.
This woman stopped by and she'd seen us here before, and she got this big smile on her face and she said, "Oh, I was hoping I'd see you today."
It's even inspired followers like these two, Heidi and Howard.
I just thought it was a great tradition, and I kind of copied them.
And just as these cherry trees grow stronger every year,
I've got this wonderful thing in my life, this amazing love. How do I celebrate it? Sometimes you get lucky.
So too does this bond.
I just know that I love this man and he loves me, and we're going to keep it that way as long as we can.
And that is a love for all seasons. That's Nightly News for this Sunday. I'm Hallie Jackson. Thanks for watching and have a great week.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.